Aragon said, how can you help someone you know and love see how spirituality can exist and even more wonderful, can exist and be even more wonderful without being so religious? And that is, boy, that is a deep and challenging question or situation. And I guess it can go in two directions. There can be people who are religious and have a trouble understanding your spirituality, and there can be people that are anti-religious and have trouble seeing how your version of spirituality can be positive without it being attached to what their perceptions of religion has been. And sometimes it's helpful to really kind of go through the language and what you understand the differences to be. Some ways I've heard it explained is, religion is kind of what you're told, and spirituality is what you experience. A religion gives you things to believe, ideas that you have to accept, whereas spirituality is the path of knowledge, the path of awarenesses that come from personal experience. That's one of my distinctions between the two. And so a religion that is filled with lessons that are taught me requires some sort of introspection and challenging in order for them to move into the category of being a spiritual faith or a spiritual path. You can, I think, have a spiritual path that is along the same, that looks visually very much like a religious path. Religion in and of itself, I don't think, is a bad thing. Meaning the existing religions in the world, I don't think, are bad things. And I think there are countless millions of people who lead good lives that are guided by love, following traditional religious paths. Was it Joseph Campbell that said, all religions are true, but none of them are literal? Meaning that any guidelines that get you to an understanding of your place in the universe and the goodness and the love that you are can be helpful and good. Any mythology, any structure that helps you to see yourself in a loving relationship to the universe is good. And any dogma that causes a gap between you and others in the world, and any structure and dogma that justifies cruelty or injustice or violence is probably what people are generally railing against when they have a problem with religion. And the truth is, a lot of people's only experience with religion is in the manipulation, in the dogma, in the paths that are very far from, I think, what a personal path of experience is. I've had people very heatedly attack Christians, and I can't deny that there are people who claim to be Christians that are walking paths and spreading messages that are destructive, I think, to the world family, that have passionate us versus them inherent in it. And anytime a religion has that element of an us and them, then it's probably lost track of its roots. It's very easy for religion to be a kind of jersey that you wear and say, I'm on the blue team, red team sucks. We do it with everything else. We do it with politics, we do it with countries, we do it with sports teams. Our team rules, your team sucks. We're smart, you're idiots. We're chosen, you're heathens. There is a dangerous desire in humans to feel connected and to rally against an enemy. And whether intentional or not, many religions have taken that path. Not all. And there are amazing people that subscribe to every faith that use those teachings as a way to be better people. So how do you convince somebody else that your path is, the good one and not the bad one? I don't know if that's possible. I think that the only thing you can really try to do is encourage people to judge you based on your actions, and that maybe you need to be less concerned about what other people believe or how much they know about what you believe. If somebody is caught up on the idea that, you know, science is everything, and if you believe in anything except for the scientific method, or then, and in your mind that challenges your beliefs, and you feel like it's important for them to understand your maybe universal understanding, maybe not. Maybe you don't need them to understand it. Being preoccupied with what other people think about things is generally a sign of having a little lack of conviction about your own beliefs. If somebody is curious and you want to have a discussion, great. If you are curious and you want to listen, great. If you feel a need to convince them, not so great. You know how that feels when somebody's trying to convince you of something. So maybe the only real path of least resistance and path to peace is in understanding what is your business, what is their business, and what is God's business, or what is universal business, or what is just in this area that is not something to be figured out or debated. And if somebody that you have a tight relationship with, if their beliefs causes them to act in a way that you struggle with, maybe the way through it is to try to figure out how we can adjust our actions to show respect to one another, as opposed to requiring the other person to understand the basis for our choices, or the underlying beliefs that govern our actions. My grandpa, who was a Baptist minister, had a lot of admiration for my dad, who is not a religious or a spiritual man at all. But my grandpa admired the way that my dad lived his life. And it's not important. If you don't have an agenda about your belief, all you really care about is how people treat you and everyone else. I remember listening to Jacob Glass talk when he was saying how often people will complain about their romantic partners, or they'll say, I'm trying to find someone who has, is on the same spiritual path as me. And Jacob pointed out, why? If somebody reads the same books as you and is a jerk to you, then they're a jerk. If somebody doesn't know anything about Eckhart Tolle and doesn't ever question ego thoughts, but they are a good person and they're kind, shouldn't that be more important? Have conversations about your beliefs with people that is a topic of interest to them, but interact and love and hang out with people who act and live in the world in a way that is in alignment with the way you want to be in the world. To be too caught up in in some ways, all discussions, all conversations about spirituality and religion and faith and belief is all just like masturbation. The idea of, you cannot mistake the finger for the moon. The Tao, the thing, the spirit, God, universe, love, this thing that we are trying to become in alignment with is really beyond intellectual discussion. All struggles with religion happen when you try to make it literal. All religions are true, none of them are literal. So anytime you're talking about it, you're not really talking about it. You're trying to create a framework. You're trying to create mythology. You're trying to create symbols that help you to create a structure to hang things so that it makes sense to you. But none of it is really the real thing. The Tao, the flow, the God, whatever word you want to use, is beyond the intellectual discussion. And so forcing others or having conflict with others because of that area is inevitable. if you are attached to anything specific and literal. So it's it becomes an exercise in acting, in honoring, in recognizing other people's divine nature, regardless of what they believe. No, you're not going to be convinced of anything truly deep and spiritual based on someone's, logical arguments. That's the crazy thing about people that come to your house, with a brochure or something like, oh, let me tell you about Jesus Christ. You're like, I don't know. I don't feel like any true understanding of spirit happens from an intellectual argument. You could use intellectual arguments to release your attachment to beliefs that you have. One of the reasons why I love to recommend the book Stumbling on Happiness is because it has all these experiments that show you how your brain and your understanding of the literal world are pretty flawed, and that we have these assumptions about how accurate our memory is, or what we believe that we know what makes us happy, and all those things are highly inaccurate. So once, I think a logical argument can help you release some of the intellectual, logical attachments to what you think is right and wrong and true. But resonating truth doesn't happen through debate. It happens through experience. That awareness, hopefully, can release the tension, can stop the war, can release yourselves from the responsibility of convincing anyone, and just knowing that your job is to walk the walk. Your job is to be present. And also walk the walk and be open. Be aware that whatever your understanding is in this moment might not be your truth tomorrow. You might have an experience. You might see somebody. You might see something. Wow, look at how joyous and kind that person is. What is it that is making that person do that thing? You shift. You realize, you see in yourself, oh my gosh, I'm being judgmental about something that I didn't realize. And in that judgment, I was holding myself to something and judging myself. Oh, okay. Now I'm in the realm of experience. Now I'm in the realm of true growth and working on something that can allow me to be deeper in my faith, my belief, be more connected to love, more in alignment with the Tao. But that's just words. That's just ramble from a crazy guy in front of a camera. So your experience may vary. I wish you much love and luck and light as you shine your light, and hopefully allow others' light to illuminate yours as well.